Alright, a wonderful good morning everybody and welcome back here to my channel, God's Shadow. And today we are also going to play a League, of course, but first I would like to talk about 2021, the upcoming sets, because there's one set that I'm particularly hyped about and that I was hoping for to be released for years now, and that is actually Kaldheim. Whenever we went back to Theros and all these shenanigans, I was always hoping, what's the other plane with the Egypt theme? Amonkhet. But I was always hoping for a Norse mythology themed set, and Kaldheim hopefully is exactly that. So Vikings, Thor, Odin, all the old Norse gods. So really hyped for that. Hope it also has a decent power level, because I would love to play a couple of cards of that. And also because we have like some of the color combinations right now in Rise of Zendikar or Zendikar Rising that do not feature Grixis colors. That leaves a lot of design space for our color combinations for Kaldheim. So in that regard, also, like, I'm talking about the I don't know what they are calling, the modal dual land cycle or something, MLFD, or I don't know. So, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, they have 6 in Zendikar Rising and 4 are going to be in Kaldheim. And yeah, so pretty hyped for that. And then the other sets for 2021 also actually look pretty amazing. And then on top of this, these are of course only the standard sets. And then on top of this, there's also going to be a Modern Horizons 2, which is hopefully going to be tested a little bit better than Modern Horizons 1, but also really hyped for that. As long as, yeah, we don't experience something like Hogak or Astrolabe. But in general, I think, yeah, really, really exciting year of 2021. But back to the present, back to what we're at right now. Alright, and in present day Grixis control, we're gonna try out Shock Typhoon as a 2-off. So, since we last talked, I 5-0'd 2 times, I think. Once with Grixis, once with Death and Taxes. It should also be in the dump today. And I almost 5-0'd with Greater Shock, like with this guy, which is also not a bad card, I have to say. Like, especially in this current meta, where, you know, the combo decks like Nauseam are relying on a creature as their combo finisher, and all the other decks are heavily reliant on creatures, like prowess decks that want to top off on Bedlam Reveler, and you can just go, counter the Bedlam Reveler and have 5 power on the battlefield. And it's also very, very nice counter to Uru. Of course, it's not as good as Uru, but just, countering something while also putting something on the battlefield and gaining a lot of speed or velocity in that case just really helps. So I wasn't disappointed with Ferocious Great Shark, but I wanted to have something a little more flexible, and I also promised to try out Shock Typhoon. I haven't tested it in this shell, as it's a non-creature spell, and I generally, like, if I cannot, like, I can only use one mode, basically, right? I will hardly hardcast it, and so it's just a cycle and play a little bit with that Shark. It's still a good card, and of course a 2-for-1, very flexible. But yeah, so I don't get additional value out of it through K command or whatever. So we shall still try it out, as it is an interesting card. And then I went with the split between Fail Push and Thoughtseize, because half the meta right now is like big mana control, like I should say band control because there's no other control, and half the meta is like the really fast aggro decks. And then there's also reason to go with, like, Collective Brutality is just a bad card. It's just bad in the meta, and I need to go with Dragonclaw. Yeah, no way around it. Could even go with 3, but I guess the Crater Maker is still good enough for the Eldrazi matchup. Also, I don't know if you hear the hammering sounds in the background. I'm very sorry for that. There is like construction works going on right next to my house, so like everything's closed off already. It's really loud. And as an explanation for the last couple of weeks that I didn't post anything, I've been on business trips. I had to look at new flats because I'm moving in 2 or 3 weeks. And yeah, so just a lot of things going on, and that's why I didn't post as much. But of course, I'm still here, I'm still playing, and I'm gonna post whenever I can. So let's jump into League and see how it goes. Alright, welcome to round number 1. It's a slow hand, a very controlish hand, but not very proactive, and therefore, yeah, we're still gonna keep. Brazen Borrower can interact a little bit at least, and we can get a turn 2 Jace down, so it's not all bad. Unless we're playing against Prowess, then this hand's really bad. Yeah, we're playing against Prowess, of course. Of course. As it always is the same. So I guess what I could do here is I could bounce with the Brazen Borrower. Have him spend mana on replaying the Monastery Swift Spear. Then I would shock now, go down to 17. And then next turn go with the K command. It's not optimal in terms of our life total, but it is optimal in terms of our mana usage. Well, this might be burn as well then. And then the shock was really bad. Yeah, this is burn. And then I should have probably went with the polluted delta. I mean, we still got rid of the shithole there. Nonetheless. Alan might have been proficient. Yeah, we probably have to block here. If he doesn't have a Searing Blaze or something to just straight up kill my Jace. So the good thing is there are no shenanigans. Like free mana shenanigans. Like a gut shot or whatever. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna kill that shit. Make him discard. Discarding Lightning Helix. Probably in favor for like a 1 mana spell. I mean, we're dead to many things. Yeah. Alright. So, fail push. Thought he's not. My goodness. So, I want to have the Ether Gust. And coincidentally, this is actually one of the matchups where Brutality is a little bit better than Dragon's Claw. Just because it also provides some utility. So when I have Bone Crusher Giant, I think I want to skip the K commands here. Just go with one Goblin Trader Maker. Probably two. Reason being that I want to maximize on my red spells. Like cheap red spells that so that I benefit from the Dragon's Claw disproportionately. Alright, we can keep this. And I think we can also go with the island here, go with the opt to get that out of the way, find another land, and then fetch this for a basic mountain. To then go Bone Crusher Giant into Bone Crusher Giant. Definitely not. Oh my goodness. Alright, so less than perfect, but we still have a couple of plays, so it's not too bad. Alright. Yeah, we need to put some pressure onto the battlefield here. Because otherwise we're definitely not going to win this. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Fucker. So my plan is here, I hope that he doesn't have like 3 1-mana spells here. But he might. And if that's the case, then we probably, yeah, then we're just dead here again. But at that point, you know, there's just no way. Yeah, that's just an absolutely insane sequence of draws here. Like, we've dealt exactly 1 damage to ourselves. And this is his turn 4. Yeah, so he dealt 19 damage without even having creature support. Alright, welcome to round number 2. First one was actually insanely fast. We're going to keep. See where it takes us. So another very interesting thing, so now we're playing its prowess. Oh no, this might be Storm actually. Might be Storm. So another very interesting thing about the meta right now is that people have started, like the mid-range variants of Big EX have started to becoming rock again. Which is very interesting because Junt, like from power level perspective, Junt is just a superior archetype. But so I'm going to put the bolt on top because I expect this to be Storm, and I want to be able to kill a creature should it come up. Good. So now if he plays a creature here, or he just cracks a Fury Islet, that's of course okay as well, because I just needed to have more access to cards in his graveyard. Yeah, so Rock over Junt is interesting. Because it's a little bit leaner in terms of mana requirements, so it's a little bit better against these very aggressive decks, while simultaneously being able to just hate on graveyards a lot. It's actually good to get this Remand out of his hand. It's not bad, because we are using our mana pretty efficiently, and the remand would have potentially come in at a later stage and would have been problematic. So now I might be able to run out the Jace here. He seems to be... Well, no, he can't be stuck on lands because he cracked the Fairy Islet, so I think that's not the case. So I want to keep the Jace open because I have plenty of counter spells right now anyway. And just want to be able to adapt to the situation. But now I can just have a look at what I'm going to draw here. Okay, command isn't bad. Get a little bit of extra value out of it. Yeah, he's switching lands. I could actually do the same here again because I still do have the Drown Loch. I'm gonna ditch the Brazen Borer here. Go with the K commands. Make him discard and return the Brazen Borer. So since he's got more than plenty of mana here, and we still only have access to basically one counter spell. I mean, he can't have that much. Like, either he does have Pass in Flames or Empty the Warrens. If he does have him Empty the Warrens, then of course it's going to be difficult for us. But we should be able to deal with a Pass in Flames here. As he's not able to replay it. And even if he does have a Remand, like let's say the two cards in his hand are a Pass in Flames and Remand, then he might actually go ahead and bounce his or return his. Okay. Grape Shot, interesting. That was. If that's his only play here, I assume that there's still an Empty the Warrens. No. Crazy. Then that was really bad. Like. The Jace basically doesn't do anything for the rest of the game. I would have not wasted my resources there. Alright, let's run out our Brazen Borer here. Finally, a 6th land. So the problem with Shock Typhoon is you want to have at least 5 lands. Like, it should at least be a 3/3, right? To have like any form of impact. So It's still more of a late game card, even if you're using the mole. I mean, you can also cycle it for 0, of course. That's also not a big deal. My fucking god, this background noise is killing me. I do not know if you can hear it, but really annoying. So good, of course, also just go with 7 versions and up here to just get a little bit of value out of it. But I'd be fine with that as well. And if it just goes with the grape shot, then I'm going to balance my brazen Bora. So that means his win condition is gone. And from here on out, it should be pretty smooth sailing. Should have probably waited for the storm triggers, but it doesn't really matter. Could have probably like had at least one more damage going to my head. Yep. I think if I draw land here, no, I don't. Lands, decent nonetheless. Brawl, you say? So we know what he wants to do here, trying to flashback the Pass and Flames 5, which of course is fine. And now it should come there, yeah. Full Fate. So Fail Push, not the worst card, definitely better than this one. So that. Shock Typhoon actually also pretty decent. I don't want to have Jace here. Ashiok for the, well, graveyard on the one hand, but also for Gifts Ungiven. My goodness, what's going on? So I do need the Plague Engineers here. I think I'm just going to cut the K commands entirely. It's not super important for me, as I can just return stuff. And I have Shark Typhoon as a means to get around counter magic and just deploy a couple of threats. Yeah, I think that we can keep this on the draw. Thoughtseize into something else, into Snap Thoughtseize is okay. Because this means that as long as we don't draw land here at the top. We can prevent a turn 2 empty the warrens, which is always the most threatening thing on the mole. Alright, yeah. So with Ashiok especially, like I can leave Gifts Ungiven untouched. There's no Gifts Ungiven though. Alright, so I think I'm going to take the Baral here. Put 1 card on top, 1 card on bottom. I do have plenty of removal spells still, but this might get him to the point where he's not playing a turn 2 Goblin Electromancer, yeah. Which of course is exactly what I want. Yeah, and Plague Engineer is a very good addition either. So I want to bluff Counter Magic. To then get rid of... Oh, there's the Baral, alright. Okay, it doesn't have more lands though, so... I think... Wait... Hmm. So I know about the Bolt, therefore, if I play the Ashok here, it's gonna die next turn, most likely. I could go with the Plague Engineer, but that dies to Bolt. Therefore, if I go with the Snapcaster here, I mean, I have to stifle his ability to generate more mana, right? So naturally, I wouldn't need to go after... I think I'm still going to go with the Ashok here. Just leave it be. And then I can decide on whether or not I want to sacrifice it. That's very good. Okay. So I can go... Kill Baral. Snap, kill Goblin Electromancer. Lol. Now I can't do that, and of course, Ashok is gonna die to Bolt, therefore I'm just gonna use it here. I know the last 2 cards in his hand. Hidden Empty, the Warrens, and the Shenanigans. Interesting, Shenanigans. Probably against Damping Sphere. But yeah, he still has to utilize the Bolt, so the Ashok still trades, yeah, decently. And he only has Pyretic Ritual left in hand. which you can just easily take at some point. Okay, put on top of library, play tower pits. And this goes on goblins, just so that we don't take more damage. And this is also a goblin, which is cool. Then we have the cryptic command to give us a little bit of protection. Interesting. So lightning bolt opt. Which is okay. I mean, it gets rid of our plague engineer, yes. But doesn't do a whole lot here. Obviously now Empty the Warrens is a threat again because now I need to find the other plague engineer as I don't have K commands in my deck anymore. Alright. Let's kill that. That for free. And then we just rumble in here. Because right now our opponent does not have any resources to go off. And should it come to a racing situation, I want to have the ability to get there pretty quickly. I mean, at this point, like Sharknado or Shark Typhoon would actually be pretty decent. So I'm going to play it out, because next turn I can start attacking while also keeping up the cryptic command. With the gifts and given. Yeah, I'm taking 2 for 1 here because, as I said, like he's low on resources, needs to find stuff. Also multiple things, like he needs mana to return the Passive Flames. Oh, that's a good card. I can do it this way. Should probably crack that Fury Islet at some point. I mean, you can also just go with Passive Flames, but yeah. So while these counter spells are of course very good for him in the counter fights, if he's playing like many of them, of course that hurts his proactivity. So like situations like these are even more difficult to get out of. Also, I do have the ability to go with double torpid if I want to, so Next turn, I actually, like not this turn, but the turn after, I have lethal. Yeah. Let's start off with an Inquisition. Alright. Then we're gonna go and then we also know that next turn we just have lethal. Pretty certainly. Yeah, GG's. Alright, welcome to run number 3 here. We're gonna keep. Okay. Giant. No, I was like, at first when I saw the Cavern of Swords, I was like, alright, for a change, we might actually have a good hand against a deck here. And then Giant. Lol. And double Amulet of Vigor. Alright. So, and this shit as well. Oh my goodness, I hate this deck. Actually, the deck itself is not as bad, but what's really annoying is Field of the Dead. Field of the Dead is extremely, extremely annoying. So we need to. I mean, he does have 6 mana already, right? So uncounterable 6 mana. There's almost no way we beat this. It's actually, yeah, this is actually insanely insane. So turn 3 Titan off of a Cavern of Souls with Field of the Dead already in play. And with 2 Amulets of Vigor, he can actually also um, chain Titans here. Let's have a look at our sideboard. Aethergas, of course, Ashiok, Fulminator Mage. And Goblin Cradle Maker is also not the worst, as it can also get, like, applies a little bit of pressure, gets rid of Sakura Tribe Scouts, and does also get rid of Amulet of Vigor and other stuff as well. So overall, not bad. Yeah, this is exactly what I meant. Like, now we can bounce the Terraria West. Cycle that as well. And then I guess you could even go with the Summoner's Pact and an Eidolon Offertory. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. What I want to prevent here is him going with a Pact of Negation. Therefore, I have to kill the Primeval Titan here. Chances of us winning are extremely slim at this point. But we're not beaten yet. It all depends on whether or not after the next turn. Now, there's a Pact of Negation. That's going to be interesting. So he has another Titan in hand already, or packed. So what can we beat here? Let's say would be difficult without Field of the Dead already, but with Field of the Dead, close to impossible. So the only chance we have, and the only thing I'm doing here, like I'm playing towards, is him utilizing, like if we kill the Titan here with like a double lightning bolt, and he gets a little bit ahead of himself, is too caught up in his own place to realize that he doesn't have two blue or two green. I mean, it's super bad, of course, that. This is also really bad. Although, yeah, he does have another land drop as well, still, right? Yeah. Okay, so then we're dead. That was an insane hand. Pretty insane hand. Gets haste. I need to try to kill it, which won't be possible because, of course, he does have the packed backup. But afterwards, we're dead anyway, so. Hands down, probably one of the best hands Titan deck could have possibly have. Lol, he lets it resolve? That is super wild. That is really strange. Like, he could have just killed me here. He's still in a good spot, of course. But that would have just straight up been lethal here. Let's see. Because if I draw, like, let's say I had drawn an Inquisition here. If I had drawn an Inquisition here, then we would actually be able to win. So that was definitely a mistake because, I mean, okay, maybe he's played around Force Negation, but then he would have to play around it again right now. But at some point he can, of course, not do it anymore. So, yeah. It's no use for me to respond to this Azusa. So the only thing that he has to be really, really scared of is if I had a force of negation backup and he uses the pacts, then he would have to pay for both pacts. At that point, of course, I mean, I would have to have like a perfect hand. But it would still be something that he would have to play around. Lol. Okay, so now it's even more interesting. Because he cannot pay for a third pack. Like if I had Force of Negation here, then he'd just be dead after this. But he does it. Alright. Okay. But that was certainly I don't think there's anything better that he could have drawn. So I get rid of all my lightning bolts. When I have Gust, when I have Fatal Push, Thoughtseize. And I need to put in Ashok's as well, somehow. So Jay is gonna go out. And then... I guess I'm gonna cut one K command for one Greater Maker. It's only a slight difference, but it can be more mana efficient for me to like go with an early Crater Maker and just have it sit on the battlefield. Hand's okay, but if we don't draw lands, we're so fucked. If we do not draw land, we are so fucked. If we do draw land though, hand's decent. We have artifact removal, we have creature removal, we have Ashiok, and of course somewhere down the line also the Cryptic. So I'm going to start off with a Steam Vents here, not Fetch. Opponent's down on a mulligan to 5. It doesn't mean anything because it's not really a critical mass deck. Alright, so there's the Amulet of Vigor. Do have a land, which is not bad. Need to kill Dryad of Elysian Growth though. Oh my fucking god, again? You got to be kidding me. This person, what the fuck? Honestly. Fuck. Fuck. Yeah. Fuck you. Like, he would even be able to play the Titan here, right? If he had a Titan, then he could just jam it here again. Like, on turn 2 this time. It's absolutely bonkers. Absolutely fucking bonkers. And a Talus tracker. Alright, so now that I know what he does have in hand, I'm just gonna get rid of these two. And then play the Ashok next turn. Like, I'm sick of this shit. I am sick of this shit. Okay, that's also a good card. Yeah. There's a Primeval Titan. And also Boros Garrison, which is not super bad. Yep. So obviously at this point we're looking pretty well. Although just cycling a couple lands there. Yeah, let's just counter draw. Azusa is not a big threat by herself. I think we know the last card in his hand, right? Do we not? Yeah, we know that the last card in his hand is indeed a bounce land. Yep, that's fine. So if possible, I actually don't want to show him that I am playing discard spells, but I probably will have to. Like, he's still at a somewhat high life total. Yeah, let's do it right now. Don't risk anything. I think the only thing we lose to here is a Dryad. 2/2 on the Balakuts. So you play the land, therefore still no changes. But now we can make it to a 2-turn clock. Field on that. Let's put it at the bottom. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So good thing he doesn't know about a fulminator mage yet. So overall I'm pretty happy, I think. I'm gonna cut one Brazen Borer though. Actually, might be cutting both Brazen Borers. So now we had to put on a little bit of a race, but like in this rematch, since he's on the play, I need to have maximum utility to just be able to answer like his Talus trackers, etc, etc, etc. So hand's decent, but we can easily get blown out by a single Veil of Summer. The good thing is, yeah, that's definitely a Veil of Summer. That's definitely a Veil of Summer. Let's not do anything. We'll probably, hopefully, find a time where we can just deploy it. Nope, it's not this time. Okay. So I'm fully expecting to run into a Veil of Summer here. Oh, that is actually beautiful. I mean that we're not running into Veil of Summer here. So what can I do? I can go Dryad, Talus, Tracker, next turn take the Titan. If I cannot take the Titan though, I'm really fucked. Sometimes you have to play with the big boys. And also, it's not super likely that he can even deploy the Titan the next turn. And now we also have something to do. No, don't have a counterspell. Okay. Phew. Close call. Alright. So now he's got basically everything that he needs. So I'm going to attack here because I do have the K command, I do have the fail push. We're basically just playing around. Okay. Basically just playing around the Titan here. If he does find a Volakut here, then I can go in response to the trigger. Oops. Just press some key. Don't want to have 6 through the turns here. So it must be something. That he's thinking about here. If he drew a Titan off the top here, that would be quite insane. Gotta be honest. The Dryad was already a very, very good draw. Another Dryad. Pooh. So I'm gonna kill one and just protect myself with the Snapcaster until I find a fetch land. Fuck. But we've already gotten rid of three of the bitches there. So So I'm gonna wait with the Ashiok. I actually want to deploy the Shark Typhoon first. It seems like there might be something going on, right? We shall see. All right, so that was what he was waiting for here. That was also probably what he had in hand. Therefore, I'm gonna get rid of the land that he probably also still has in hand. Yeah, and he got seeded. Good, 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 good. All right, welcome to round number, what is it? 3, 4, 4. We're gonna keep, although I expect Moto to give me a land off the top due to the weird algorithm that they utilize. Oh no, same shit, different day. But this time it's actually escape shift. So I think I'm actually, so I can either go after the payoffs or I can slow down the game. Initial thought is Summer's Pact, but I think I'm actually better going after Search for Tomorrow here. I need to slow down the game in order to get there, and they do have like a pretty good density of spells anyway. Right. Oh, I just realized that you weren't hearing anything. I don't know what the problem is sometimes. It just like turns itself off. It's really, really awkward. That and that, and that as well. These two, and that and that. This is gonna go. And I still am a couple of cards too many. So what did I say last time, right? So we are actually this is not correct. Since we're playing against a Boreal Gazer, yeah, I should not have. Like against our last Primeval Titan opponent, it was different because it was playing Sakura Tribe Scout, but this one's playing this one is playing Boreal Gazer, and therefore the goblins are actually way worse. Oh yeah, so you couldn't hear me speaking last, like the first half of the match, and I was actually smelling the, oh my goodness, what the fuck? Defense grid. Well, at least my goblins have something to do now again, I guess. So, what are we doing? What are we doing? Going after Wooded Foothills, certainly not great. But I want to know what's going on. On the other hand, though, let's say he's playing a Dryad here, and something else. Then I kill it with the Terminate next turn, I won't be able to also Surgical it. Alright, so I'm not doing anything. Just see what he does. Experiencing extreme problems right now. God? Why is it God? Oh. Okay. Yeah, I guess. Okay. Right. Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. Or am I? Just feels like I have to get rid of the defense grid. Clothes isn't going to be a problem for the foreseeable future. But he can also, what he can actually do is, yeah, he can of course also ram himself, and if he does have a Castle Garen break and the cloth is here, then he can also already get there. Would have to have exactly that though. Oh fuck. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting. All right, let's have a look at the trigger. So it triggers first, so we have another window to respond here. Okay. So he's not going with the ram which he would need if he wanted to go with a Titan this turn. Therefore, I'm responding by going after the Dryad. That's actually the best call. Yes, I knew it, you fucker. Fucking yes. Oh man. Beautifully played, beautifully played. And of course, now with the Ether Gust, we can also get rid of that Clothis. Because I can just put it to the top. Or he puts it to the top of his library or whatever. And just gonna get rid of it. Okay. So. I think surgical is potentially better. But I don't see, like, I don't really need it. I think. Yeah. Okay. So at this point, I think the only thing that really is getting, voila, the background noise. Maybe I should. You put it on top, yes. And there was a Primeval Titan as well, which is a good hit. And he also didn't fetch, which is also pretty good. Alright, GG's. An easy 4-1 here. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pretty fun league overall. I hope that it really was only like these couple of minutes where you actually weren't able to hear me. As I said, like, excuse the background noise, the hammering there. It's really, really annoying. But as I said, I'm moving in like 3 weeks exactly because of this, because I'm living at the main street right now, right next to Main Street, and it's like that for months. And yeah, so deck's good. Shark Typhoon does have its merits. I think I would go with a slightly different build then. Ditch the Bone Crush Giants here, and potentially also the Brazen Boras, and go with a Force and Nimble, because that just functions better together. And yeah, I think with this deck you can, like, this is what we're going to try next time around. It's a little bit light on removal, now that we basically like skipped 4 of our removal spells, trimmed them. Therefore, I might be going with another Fatal Push here over the Thoughtseize. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent shell. Shark Typhoon does Shark Typhoon things. It was really good against the big mana decks. It is pretty bad against aggressive decks. Nonetheless, a flexible answer. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you around next time, guys. Alright, welcome to round number 2. Hands okay. We have a couple of options, and therefore we're going to keep. Planes go. Interesting. What the heck is this? So I'm going to start off. Whoops. Gonna start off with a Water Grave here, and go with an Inquisition. Oh, we're playing against Ad Nauseam. Alright. So I think I can get rid of the Pact of Negation at some later point in the game, because he has to get to Ad Nauseam first, and therefore I'm going to take the Semi-Spirit Guide here. Could of course also go after the Angel's Grace, but he has no way of finding additional sources. right now. And if he draws like artifact mana, then yeah, Submersion makes it a little better, of course. Not gonna lie. Therefore, like my life total isn't as relevant here. Therefore, I'm just gonna go with opt in my main phase to find potentially another Inquisition or Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize, of course, would be better. Cryptic command. Alright, alright, alright. So you put one core on top, one core on bottom, so it's probably going to be a land source on top. I also want to have a land here, and then we definitely have to do something next turn. Alright. So let's go with Inquisition. I don't think that he can counter here. Therefore, we're going to take the Pact of Negation. It would be super awkward. I mean, he does have multiples of Angel's Grace, of course, therefore he can counter. Okay. But that is still good because it's a 2-for-1 for me in my favor. And whatever he wants to protect here, like he shouldn't be able to go off this turn. At least not off of an Analsium. Alright. So Nimble Obstructionist is good in the sense that it can counter the Thassa's Oracle trigger. Therefore, I could actually play in a way where I have him like let everything resolve and then just counter the Thassa's Oracle trigger because he cannot interact with that. Alright. So with a tap land here, he should not be able to go off this turn because I feel like they changed the order on the Kolaghan's command. Like I found myself a couple of times already recently dealing 2 damage to my opponent while I actually wanted to discard something. And since I mostly don't think about this anymore because I'm doing it so often, I felt like they had to have changed something because like the card just didn't do what I wanted it to do anymore. Alright, so got rid of the second Angel's Grace, which is interesting. That probably means that it's not worth it for me to go in with the Snapcaster Mage right now. But next turn I have 6 mana and I can go with the Snap and keep up the Nimble. Okay, I'm gonna counter this. No, I'm not gonna counter this. I can go with the Snap, but then he can respond with it. Yeah, I'm gonna counter it. It's interesting because I think I still lose to a Lightning Storm. Like, I don't have Lightning Storm in my mind right now, like what it does exactly, but I can of course go with Inquisition here, put the Cryptic Command back on top, and have him discard another card. That way, like even if I don't get anything with the Inquisition, which it did, which is nice, because now he has to discard the Ad Nauseam as well. Yeah, so Lightning Storm, I don't know if it's one trigger or multiple triggers. I know it's not a storm trigger, although it, you know, it's called Lightning Storm. But I think it's multiple triggers, just like with the Valakut. And if that's the case, then I of course cannot only counter one with a Nimble and potentially one with a land. So yeah, I gotta be a little bit careful there in that regard. Now I'm gonna play the Swamp, although of course as I said, like every land is basically 3 life, 2 life. But I do want to put a clock on the battlefield here, and I'm going to put the Nimble in now. Yeah, and now with the Drown Lock, it's going to be difficult for my opponent. Like we have a 3-turn clock, and my opponent has assembled the entire combo, which consists of 3 cards, in 2 turns, and somehow get around like 2 counter spells. I actually have lethal here. But he can go off, like, let's say, nah, I have an additional counter spell backup, so I think I'm just gonna kill him. If he had not played the land drop here, the situation would have been a little bit different, but this way, it's just good. Alright, so Terminate's gonna go, Push is gonna go, I'm gonna put in Surgical, this one. Brutality isn't super bad, it's okay. Don't need the Lightning Bolts, it's mainly a dead card. I can put in the Crater Maker though because of the prisms. And then Ether Gust. I guess there's a little bit of a... No, I think Ashiok is actually not bad. I can ditch it on the one hand, on the other hand though, I can utilize it to potentially get rid of a couple of his win conditions, which then of course makes it way harder for him to win. So is one Ashiok good, or do I actually want to go with it instead of a Nimble? Or Tasker on the draw, yeah. Tasker on the draw might be correct to put out, despite of course being a cheap threat most of the time. But since we don't know what our opponent's bringing in from the sideboard, I think taking out Tasker here is still reasonable. And I think we're going to keep this. If he's starting the game with, well, exactly that, that is a problem because now I cannot Ashiok him, I think. Yeah, I gotta target the player. So then Jace comes in and has to do a lot of work because our opponent's also not playing any fetches. Therefore, Ashiok, for the most part, is now a dead card. Unless I bounce the Leyline, of course. Put a card on top, put a card on bottom. Yeah, so our hand needs time. That is the most important thing for us. Just need to have a couple of turns. Alright, so he apparently drew, like put the Lotus Bloom on top, which is good in the sense that The drone lock counters it, plus K command can of course also get rid of it. Therefore, that might be decent for us. Okay, Sanctuary is alright, I guess. So the only upside about the Ashok here is that I could potentially put cards into my own graveyard. I think Angel's Grace has split second, right? Put a card on the bottom. So we probably have 2 more turns, and I cannot utilize this. So let's activate the Jace, discard this, put in the Scalding Tarn, which means that next turn I will have 2 drowns up and ready. But this has to be a Water Grave again, so I can't be going with a K command. Which is fine because it only hits the artifacts. I can't even target my opponents. Has to be a Water Grave because I need black for the drown and I need an island for Mystic Sanctuary. Right, so now we drew another one. Okay. I think I'm going to discard Inquisition here. Should this work out, like if this doesn't work out, then we're dead anyway, but should this work out, then I have Snapcaster backup to do something next turn as well. Now he has 2 cards in the graveyard, therefore we can now counter a couple of his spells. And apparently it doesn't have... okay, never mind. It does have mana. As do we, apparently. So I think I'm going to get rid of Polluted Delta. 6 mana should be alright. And if I shock the Blood Crypt here, like I'm going to try to bounce the Leyline at some point so I can go under it with the Inquisition. But it's not yet that time. And right now, yeah, he's got something. He's just waiting here. Contemplating if this is the correct turn to do stuff. But we only have 1 counter spell here, so probably would be. Alright. So the issue here is that my opponent is apparently going for the Thassa's Oracle kill, which means here my Nimble would actually be pretty good, because otherwise they don't play it in the main phase. So I'm going to counter and return. Strangely enough, he did not play an Angel's Grace beforehand, so I don't know if he can actually win here. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think that as Nauseam was just to search for stuff. Right, that's not bad. So I can go with Inquisition, and if I really want to, I could also go with There is an Angel's Grace even. Alright, GG's.